This video is dedicated to Mike82. Mike, thank you for your continued support. Illuna Apex of Wishes versus Teysa Orzhov Scion, Emry Lurker of the Loch, and Tawnos Urza's Apprentice. Oh, we want ramp in this deck, so I'm going to mulligan on that one and hope that we get into some lands. We do, and we've even got some ramp there in Ancient Tomb and Nature's Law, so yeah, I think that's okay. Another land for us. So what do we want? I'm just trying to think what. Just another land for us. We'll go in for a tap land here. Green and red I think is okay. Oh, actually, forgetting all about the Tricycle land. Yeah, we definitely go for that out of the tap lands that we've got available to us. I've hardly played. I think it might be the first time I've ever played one of the Tricycle lands, actually, so have to remember that in future. And Altar of the Brood coming down for Emry, which is part of a combo piece. It's usually safe to assume that Emry is playing combo. We're against a couple of randoms today in Emry Lurker of the Loch and Teysa Orzhov Scion, and then patron of the channel Home Doggy playing the Tawnos Urza's Apprentice. Dreadhorde Invasion for the Orzhov player. Then we get into Thunderblust. We do have some keywords that we care about in this deck, so it's Persist on this one and Double Strike on this one. We're quite a ways away from putting Double Strike on that though. So let's go for, well, Reflecting Pool and a dual land, or a tri-land even, is really good. So we'll get Nature's Law down for another tap land. A turn 2 Tawnos from Home Doggy, and that does have haste, so it goes straight in at Emry. And it's a couple of permanents entering here so far. There might be some more permanents entering after the Ethereum Sculptor, but that along with a land mills us all for 1. They get rid of a land and a Chromatic Lantern from us. We've got quite a bit of ramp in this deck. Combustible Gearhulk and Loyal Apprentice for Tawnos. And then Witch's Oven and Iara. Yeah, glad to see the back of Iara. Dreadhorde Invasion triggers for Teysa, and we see the second commander of the game in Teysa Orzhov Scion come down. A Cold-Eyed Selkie. Now then, Cold-Eyed Selkie, do we want... We could mutate something onto that, and we've got an island over here. We might have another one here. I'd be more inclined to go towards Emry, to be honest. Yeah, maybe we get out the Cold-Eyed Selkie this turn. Although we could also get out Thunderblust, couldn't we? Ready for our commander next turn. What's the mutate cost on that? It is 5, I think. Oh no, it's 5 to cast it, 6 to mutate. So maybe we just go in for the Thunderblust this turn and try and get some fast commander damage off. So we'll get that down. We'll go straight in at Emry. And 1/3 of the way to assembling Tron over here. And there's a Mox Amber as well. And then going in for Hedron Archive as well, so lots of mana coming down over here. Not too much coloured mana though. Oh, and a Blade of Selves as well. This was bugged on Magic Online at one point, and I have never tested it since. So Home Doggy can test that out for us, and we'll see if it works. More mill from Emry coming down. Gets rid of Aetherflux Reservoir, a Blasphemous Act from us, as well as a land, Spine of Issar. What else? Damnation and Blood Artist. Yep, getting rid of some really good stuff. Getting rid of a couple of Aristocrat effects from the Teysa player as well, which I'm sure they are reliant on in some situations. And then another permanent coming down for even more mill. Folio of Fancies. Smothering Abomination has hit the graveyard for them as well. And then, yeah, looks like everyone is focusing in on Emry. What have they got here? They've got a Lightning Greaves to help protect their commander. There's Chief of the Foundry, Foundry Inspector, so lots of means of making their artifacts cost less. Junk Diver, yeah, so probably lots of combos they can get off in this deck. That's pretty typical of mono blue artifacts. Then a Sengir Autocrat from the Teysa player as well. No sack outlets for them yet, fortunately. Okay, Return of the Wild Speaker is some good card draw. We just need 1 additional mana, don't we? I don't think it matters which. We'll just drop the Volcanic Island. We can surprise our opponents with Contested Cliffs, maybe next turn. So let's go for cast with mutate. I've never done mutate before, so don't hold your breath that I'm going to do this correctly. And then that's a 6/6, so I think we'll actually put it underneath the 7/2, and that way we can hit someone only 3 times and deal commander damage. Sunbird's Invocation can definitely go onto the battlefield, that's really good. Yeah, that's an excellent thing to get off the top with our commander. So we'll go back in at the mono blue player. We have Flying and Trample, as well as Haste, so this is 7 points of commander damage. Even though this thing's on top, it does still count as our commander. So 2 more hits like that, and they will be out of the game. Is it Signet from the Tawnos player, followed by a Tribute Mage. So maybe it's that they just focus on getting a load of rocks out in the early game. That's certainly what they've been doing so far. I think the equip on this is 4, isn't it? Yeah. They go for Mere Retriever with that, which is not a mana rock. What do they want to retrieve is the question. I mean, Spine of Ishtar and Aetherflux Reservoir are good targets. So's Combustible Gearhulk, so anything they want really. Again, no sack outlet here, unfortunately for them. Now let's see how much damage Emry can do. Alright, Psymaster Thopterist. If they can get a few Thopters into play, then it's going to be difficult for our commander to stay in play, although it does have Persist. Then they grab a Lightning Greaves, get themselves into a Thopter, and the Thopters trigger the Altar of the Brood, so we're continuing to get milled, getting rid of one of our hexproof and regenerate creatures. Oh, and that's noteworthy, there's a Memnarch over here. Urza's Mine is in there as well, so they might struggle creating Tron. Milling us all for 0 with this thing. And then what's over here? Darkest Hour is in the bin, another combo piece, so it's combos galore in this game. There's the sack outlet they were missing, so I wonder if they had that all along. Followed by Zulaport Cutthroat, yeah, not quite infinite yet. So they milled a couple of Aristocrat pieces, but still managed to get into one. Yeah, we're going to have to be very, very careful of the board state over here. Looks like they're deciding to make themselves some spirits with the surf tokens. Yeah, very quickly getting into everything they need. Pointing the mill at the mono blue player, I'm not sure that's wise because they actually want a full graveyard in Emry, as far as I'm aware. Oh, but do the serfs have... Oh, I thought the serfs were 1/1s, not 0/1s, so it actually doesn't mill them any. Yeah, Altar of Dementia mills equal to the power, but the serfs are 0/1s, not 1/1s like I thought they were. Now then, I think we can leave the Orzhov player be. Yeah, they don't quite have infinite yet, and they'll be even further away from infinite if we get rid of the sack outlet, so maybe we focus on doing that and then carry on in at Emry. So why don't we go for mutate first of all, and hope that we don't see any removal. Then that's a Sunbird's Invocation off the top for us, and it is a Beast Within. Now then, Beast Within can go on something, let's see, maybe we want rid of the Lightning Greaves, or is it just the Altar of the Brood? Psymaster Thopterist for us, I think, because we want to keep the Thopters out of play. They might not block with a Thopter this turn, and then they can double up on blocking next turn if we go in at them again. Then we're obviously going to go under with the mutate because we want to keep the power and toughness as it is. So we can search. Oh, and I've completely... Can you tell I've never played with the mutate cards before? Apologies. I thought this was the one that blows up an artifact or enchantment, hence the reason I was talking about Altar of Dementia. Oh, that's annoying. Probably should have pointed that Beast Within over here then. I thought we were going to get to blow up a couple of things there. Oh well, we'll get a little bit of ramp going at least. Primeval Bounty can definitely go on the battlefield. That's 2 really good things that we've gotten out of our commander. We can just as easily get into things like Sol Ring and smaller CMC stuff, so that's just lucky to get into both of those. Then we'll grab ourselves a Forest, and that will gain us 3 life off of the Primeval Bounty. Then we'll play ourselves a Flooded Strand as well and gain a little bit more life. Yeah, it may well be that that costs us the game. If our opponent goes infinite next turn, then that's entirely my fault. Anyway, we'll go back in over here. There's too many spirits over here for them to block with, so we'll try and get rid of one player at least. We need another combat step after this even. And then from an Izzet player and a mono blue player, I'm not too certain that we're going to see a board wipe, to be honest, so I think it's fairly safe to go in for the Cold-Eyed Selkie. Worst case scenario, we can replay our commander at some point into Return of the Wild Speaker. And then that gives us a 3/3 beast token, as well as a trigger with the Sunbird's Invocation. Just have to keep our fingers crossed that the luck continues with that. And then what have we got? We've got an indestructible something, so we could give our commander indestructible if we want to later on. I think I'd rather take a Sensei's Top, actually. We'll put a bunch of plus counters on our commander to make it less fragile to things like the Thopters and the Spirits. And then if we can play another non-creature spell next turn, we can pile up some plus counters on the Selkie and try and draw some more cards next turn. Oh, and there we are, a duplicate. Yeah, an argument to be made for multiple creatures here. Cold-Eyed Selkie is pretty scary, as is our commander. Argument to be made for Teysa or Zulaport Cutthroat as well. So yeah, I'm not too sure where our opponent's going here. Won't be surprised if it came our way. It's going in at the Cold-Eyed Selkie, that's a shame. Luckily we've still got card draw in the Return of the Wild Speaker. We just have to hope that our commander stays in play until next turn. But it's noteworthy that they've now got a duplicate in play alongside a Blade of Selves. Played a land and milled us another land. Duretti's gone over here. And Woe Strider over here, which they can get out of the bin. Now activating their Emry on the Foundry Inspector. So obviously playing the Foundry Inspector, followed by a very cheap Palladium Mirror. Just 1 mana for that. Then Nyx Lotus comes down. I am still waiting to see this do great things in Commander, but yeah, I haven't been so lucky as to see it do great things yet. They have Devotion to blue of 1, 2 and 3, so still not incredible, but 4 mana for 3 coloured mana isn't awful. Then activating the Folio of Fancies for 0 again. The Spirits, as well as the Zombie, are now going in towards Emry, so continuing to gang up over there. And we kind of have to go after them, to be honest, because yeah, not only are they about to go off at any second, or potentially go off at any second, but the Teysa player can exile our creature with 3 spirits in play. So we're kind of between a rock and a hard place here. Now tapping out mana. Oh, Sadistic Hypnotist. Eesh, that's not good. That's really not good. It's at random as well, I think, isn't it? Oh no, you just discard 2 cards, so you do get to choose at least. The problem is, if we go in for Return of the Wild Speaker, then Teysa may well exile our commander in response to it. Oh, and I misclicked there, going for the Shock Land. Oh well, we'll have to just take the 2 life. We're going to gain 3 from the Primeval Bounty anyway. Needed an untapped land so that we can spin the top. Alright, there's Prophetic Speaker for more double strike if we want it. Scroll Rack. Yeah, I think I'd rather take... We'll shuffle away the Prophetic Flame Speaker and we'll play the Constant Cliffs, or Contested Cliffs I should say, before we play the Fetch Land. So we'll play the Contested Cliffs and let's see if we can knock out Emry this turn. The fact that we've got this in play now might deter Teysa from exiling our stuff with the spirits. And in response to the attack, it took a short while, but the Emry player decided to scoop. Now, I'm just looking over here and wondering if Duplicant is going to exile a bunch of our stuff, because that'll dictate what I fight. Okay, so home telling us that he's not going to do that. In that case, let's go in for Return of the Wild Speaker, and I will try and fill up my hand a little bit. Well, by quite a lot actually. And we get more triggers with Primeval Bounty and Sunbird's Invocation. I'll put some plus counters on the beast because I do not expect the commander to survive this. Now, what do we get out of all that? There's the Prophetic Flame Speaker, of course. Let's just go for the Rhystic Study out of that. then it's even more plus counters on the beast. So now, even if the Teysa player does get rid of our commander, we're still going to draw a load of cards thanks to that beast being full of +1/+1 counters. But they're paused on their turn now, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so exiling a creature. In response to that, we're going to have to fight something. Okay, so what do we fight here? Noteworthy that our commander is no longer a beast, which is why that card is in here. It's actually an elemental now, so it doesn't carry over the creature types. Luckily, we have this beast from the Primeval Bounty. So we choose a beast we control, and then do we just get rid of Sadistic Hypnotist? I mean, they've already got a sack outlet. I think if they tap out for their commander next turn, then they can't do anything else. So let's get rid of their commander. And then they sacrificed something with the Altar of Dementia. I assume it was a token because there's nothing else in the graveyard. They did get a spirit out of it, so it must have been a black token. Then they sacrificed their Sengir Autocrat as well, so getting into another spirit token before their commander goes down. And if they decide to sacrifice another black creature here, I think this cares about other creatures, doesn't it? Yeah, whenever another black creature dies, so if they decide to get rid of their Sadistic Hypnotist, they'll have enough white creatures to slam down Teysa next turn and still hold up the exile effect. But we're forcing them to do all this outside of their own turn at least, and then we're having the mill pointed at us as well. So after all that, it looks like the Teysa is finally going down, unless they decide to sacrifice that in response for even more mill. That's exactly what they do. Oh no, they don't. They are making enough spirits to exile our beast token. So we are all back to a level playing field here. So we are not going to draw any cards from the Return of the Wildspeaker, unfortunately. Luckily, we've gotten ourselves into the Rhystic Study. And we'll get some card draw from the Sunbird's Invocation if we're lucky. Oh, and then of course they don't lose their Teysa here, do they? Because the contested cliffs wants you to fight with your beast, and if the beast isn't in play, then it can't fight. Yeah, so well played by the Teysa player, just showing off the power of Teysa there. Did all of that without any mana, but they got rid of the Sadistic Hypnotist. We helped to clear out a lot of their board at least. They've only got 3 cards in hand, so I'm not too sure how much they're going to be able to do next turn. The Hedron Archive being cracked now for 2 cards, so the Izzet player goes up to more cards than any of us. They've still got 4 mana available to go for the Blade of Selves if they like, and they'll get a couple of duplicate tokens come out, which can get rid of these 2 things. It might be worth doing that while the Teysa player is tapped out, because they've still got quite a few combo pieces in play. Home Doggy was just saying to us there in the comments section that he wanted to copy the the Hedron Archive trigger or activation with their commander, but it wouldn't allow him to. You hold control in order to hold priority on Magic Online, and he did do that, but still didn't let him target the Hedron Archive effect with his commander, so don't know what's happening there. Anyway, casting a Crackdown into a Rhystic Study to give us some card draw. We get ourselves into Vorapede, which is Vigilance and Trample and Undying for our commander. Don't know how relevant Undying and Persist are going to be with a Teysa in play. Then both the Duplicant and the Tribute Mage are coming in at us, as well as the commander. We've got no creatures in play, so deciding to swing in at us. Yeah, it's noteworthy that none of that would have occurred previously had we have actually gotten rid of Altar of Dementia like I should have done. So it just goes to show how these mistakes can affect the outcome of a game. But it's my first time playing the deck, so I can't feel too bad about it. Wasn't particularly interested in Mutate as a mechanic, to be honest, but I'm sure a lot of people watching are. Anyway, Anointed Procession for Teysa to get double the tokens. So they sacrifice this zombie and they get 2 spirits for their troubles. Then we get a Zulaport Cutthroat and Teysa coming in our way. So we'll just spin the top now, then we can F6 through the rest of the turn. Okay, a Mana Reflection, a Mana Crypt, and a Darksteel Mirror. That's indestructible on our commander if we want it. I don't think that's going to be all that relevant against Teysa. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Then into 2, 4 and 6 if we get the mana doubler out. Yeah, maybe it's just worth doing a bit of setting up with a mana reflection then. So we'll go Darksteel Mirror, Mana Crypt and Mana Reflection. Unfortunately, we're not going to have anything to put plus counters on, are we? We could go for this thing. Bunch of plus counters and double strike. I don't see what else we're going to do with the mana that we've got, so yeah, let's go for that. Play the Stormfleet Swashbuckler. Get ourselves into a token and we'll get a Mana Crypt off the top here, I think. We certainly do. So getting rid of the Darksteel Mirror. Then we'll go for Mana Reflection as well. Don't think it really matters. We'll put Sunbirds on the stack first. We don't know what's on top. We'll put plus counters on the Stormfleet. Now then, what have we got to choose from here? Surak Dragonclaw is pretty good, I think. Whenever this creature mutates, exile the top cards. Oh, that's the one I was referring to before, isn't it? Whenever this creature mutates, destroy a target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. We're running low on mana, believe it or not. We want to be able to play this and keep it in play, but I don't think we're going to be able to keep it in play with all this that's going on with Teysa. So why don't we just try and get as many of these creatures in as possible in that case. Try and make as many threats as we can. And then we'll play ourselves a scroll rack, and if we just so happen to draw into a bunch of cards, then we can maybe swap some things around before the end of our next turn. Let's put even more plus counters on that thing. Obviously Sunbirds triggers again, and it's just some lands, so we whiff for the first time this game with the Sunbirds. No haste for us, unfortunately. We do have haste enablers in the deck, but haven't gotten into them. Might be worth getting rid of Surak for, what is it called, Urabrask. But I do like the trample enabling on that. Plus the fact that it keeps your creatures from being countered. But yeah, giving Teysa another turn with sack outlets and double tokens and stuff like that isn't really something I want to do. They'll get double the zombies next turn if they decide to sacrifice this before their upkeep, which they most likely will. So that's 2 zombies and 2 spirits they'll have. Whirl a Rogue into the Rhystic Study, and fingers crossed they don't pay for it. They do decide to pay for it, unfortunately for us, so Whirl a Rogue comes in with a couple of Thopters, and you can tap a couple of them to tap another creature. No, you can't. It is target creature can't be blocked this turn. And I don't think... No, thanks to paying for the Rhystic Study, they couldn't copy the Whirl a Rogue trigger there, so not making too much use of their commander yet. Now we're receiving some more mill. The zombie goes down, and like I said, they get a couple of spirit tokens. Still not getting into the anger, I'm just hoping that they mill us into that, because we do have a mountain in play. Now, they'll get themselves into a couple of zombies, and it's Teysa's game to win at this point, as far as I can tell. Immediately sacrificing one of the zombies in order to get themselves a couple of spirits. Another Enchantress in Cruel Celebrant. And this is each opponent loses 1 life, so Zulaport Cutthroat and Cruel Celebrant each deal 1 damage to each of us. I think it's Blood Artist that targets. So the more tokens that die, the closer to death we're going to be getting. And I don't think we can even go for our commander next turn, because Teysa can easily deal with whatever we target with the mutate. And everyone managing to dodge our Rhystic Study as well, unfortunately, so we're in a tricky spot now. Piling in at us with the spirits. At the end of the turn we spin the top again, a Swiftfoot Boots. That might help us out. Yeah, I think it has to be Swiftfoot Boots there, doesn't it? So we go land, Zendikar and Boots. And then if our opponent wants to go for exile on stuff, then they're going to have to do it in response to the Boots. So yeah, let's get in for the Swiftfoot Boots, and we'll put it on the Beast token because it has Trample, although our commander has Trample anyway, so yeah, not necessarily too worried about that, but I'm going to pile on a bunch of plus counters. I'm going to put them on this, and then we can spread them around. If they do decide to exile our Beast token, then so be it. we've got another one that we can go for. We know there's nothing on top for Swiftfoot Boots to take us into, but I want to try and encourage our opponent to use their exile effects. I'd love to put our commander onto the swashbuckler, but doesn't look as though it's going to be able to happen. And now the Teysa player is deciding whether or not to make use of their spirits to exile this beast. First, getting rid of a zombie in order to make more spirits. They're going to be able to exile something twice, although Teysa can exile herself as a white creature, I think, yes. I think they can still only do it twice though, even with the Cruel Celebrant and Teysa in play. Unless they decide to sacrifice Zulaport, that is. They might be able to just make enough creatures to straight up go for an aristocrat win here. So there we are, they've got 6 spirits. It's 3 white creatures they need to activate their Teysa. And still with the Swiftfoot Boots on the stack and allowing it to hit the field. Now if we can get rid of Teysa, they're probably going to respond by getting rid of this, aren't they? In fact, let's go for this onto here and try and encourage them to... Yeah, we'll try and encourage them to use their Teysa now. Then they've got less spirits to mess around with. Oh, that gets on, surprisingly. Alright. Let's see if we can go mutate onto this. Oh, it's a human creature. Oh, it's non-human you can mutate onto. Ugh. Alright. That's a deck building error on my part. Still learning about the deck, clearly. So, let's move back over. Wasted 2 mana for nothing. And now I'll do what I should have done in the first place. We'll have to get another game in with this when I actually learn how to play the deck. Yeah, against my better judgment, I'm going to tap down the Ancient Tomb for 4 mana. And then we get into another beast. I don't think it really matters. We'll put our commander over the top of it. And then whenever that mutates, we get a bunch of triggers going on. And Thrix the Sudden Storm can definitely go onto the battlefield. That's another means of... Yeah, that's just another means of making it so that our stuff isn't counterable. Not really too good in this game, to be honest. Surat Dragonclaw and Thrix haven't really seen any counter magic to make themselves relevant. So in that case, let's see about... Yeah, we'll just spin the top with the floating mana. I don't know if we can swing in this turn, to be honest. Okay, Thron the Last Troll is okay. So let's just dump some lands and we'll go for Thron. In fact, we could get straight into Thron, couldn't we? Yeah, let's forego the whole fight thing. And we'll get ourselves into a Thron right now. So there we go. Also revealing Rishkar's expertise, which we probably wouldn't be able to land. Although, no, we could land it now, thanks to Swiftfoot Boots. Yeah, so that would have been good to get into, but not to worry. Thron can't be countered, and it can be regenerated. We'll hold up the Tri-land for that. Vorapede can't be countered either, so maybe we can swing in with our commander now. We will spin the top again with the floating mana, nothing else to do with it. Okay, a Woodfall Primus is pretty good to get into. Maelstrom Wanderer, can that take us into Woodfall Primus? No, they have to cost less, unfortunately. So we'll go Worldly Tutor, Maelstrom Wanderer and Woodfall Primus. Then I think we're swinging in with our commander. We'll go in at the Orzhov player, seeing as how they seem to be desperate to get rid of us. And I'm holding back all the other creatures because I want as many threats in play as possible. Would have been nice to go in with this because it's a big creature with double strike and trample, but not really concerned about their life total with it being so high. I just want to try and take them down to commander damage as best I can. If we can get a bunch of non-creature spells going and plus this up with plus counters, we might be able to do it next turn. Just one non-creature spell should be able to do it. Oh, Mirage Mirror coming down now, and God only knows what that's going to bring to the table. We get the Woodfall Primus into our hand, and just leaving it there worryingly, with mana up for Mirage Mirror 2 to make it become a copy of a target artifact, creature, enchantment or land until the end of the turn. And now, can they just... Yeah, the Teysa player might be able to just get rid of us with the aristocrat effects. In fact, they absolutely can now. I think they could last turn anyway if they wanted to. They could have gotten rid of Zulaport or the Cruel Celebrant in order to make enough tokens to get rid of us. So I really don't see what we could have done there, to be honest. Anyway, Elenda the Duskrose coming down now. Learned a few things about the deck at least. And maybe a few things to take out and a few things to add in. This fight is going to end up between Home Doggy and the Teysa player, I think. And all because, bear in mind, I didn't get rid of the Altar of Dementia. This would have been a much different game had I have known what that card did. Where is it? Yeah, the Migratory Greathorn. I thought it was the one that gets rid of artifacts, and obviously it isn't, so it looks like, in a roundabout way, that's cost me the game. But not to worry. Sacrificing some more stuff now. I don't think it really matters what happens here. We've lost to the Teysa player either way. And then even more aristocrat effects on the go. This is 6, which will take us down to 1. And Elenda getting even bigger. And it's actually the Mere Retriever that they're after. Exiling the Mere Retriever. Worried about combos that can go on with that. So activating it in response. So going for Mirage Mirror in response to that. Mirage Mirror in response is becoming a copy of the Altar of Dementia, which they can use to sacrifice the Mere Retriever in response to Teysa. So yeah, we're going to have a bit of a bout on the go here by the looks of it. And that's exactly what they do. Mere Retriever will be able to grab an artifact out of the bin for them. And what is it targeting? Yeah, it is the Aetherflux Reservoir. It's the Aetherflux Reservoir that they went for with the Mere Retriever. And that's not a bad way to deal with Teysa, to be honest, especially when you've got the Tawnos in play. So Teysa may well aim themselves at the Tawnos in order to keep that ability from being copied. But at the end of the day, Tawnos needs to gain a bunch of life to make the Aetherflux Reservoir relevant. And they could really do with the aristocrats being out of play as well, because if they go from like 53 down to 3, then they can easily lose that 3 life and lose the game. So I'm not really all that sure how the Izzet player is going to beat out Teysa this game. Now, Duplicant being sacrificed as well. The Tribute Mage was sacrificed also. Not sure what the aim is here. They're just trying to make this thing huge. Well, they sacrificed their commander, which I assume went into the command zone. I can't look at it for some reason. No, the Tawnos went into the graveyard, as did the Crackdown Construct. And yeah, they've been aiming all of this at the Orzhov player. And now the Elenda is going to jump up to a god knows what, like a 15-15, something close to that. And then sacrificing, yeah, they've probably got the game here. They've certainly got us, we're down to 1. Sacrificing another token, I assume. It's difficult to keep track of what is being sacrificed. There is no other creature in the bin, so yeah, that must be it. And all they have to do here is sacrifice their Elenda, the Dust Rose, to get a bunch more tokens in play, and they can drain out home as well. So that's the game for us, I think. And there we go, taking Home Doggy down to 0, and the Teysa player ends up with a whole heap of vampire tokens. I think these have lifelink as well, don't they? Yeah. So there we go. It's a good game to my opponents. Hit the thumbs up button and subscribe if you did like this one. And let me know if you'd like to see more from Illuna, because I've got some more tweaks to make, I think. But I was happy with how this deck performed. Anyway, hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Hope you enjoyed it, like I said. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.